Science has brought many beneficial inventions to the forefront of the human body. Some of them are essential, and some technology is controversial to the majority. One very controversial area of technology is the cochlear implant that an individual gets if you are deaf and wish to speak. Societal demands and family pressures are the biggest reasons for the cochlear implantation because it is not only society that requires efficient individuals, it is also the parents who want to provide the optimal life for their children. According to an article called The Cochlear Implant Controversy, written by Shelley DeLost and Sarah Lushley, those who support cochlear implants believe that the normalization is the key to success for deaf children. On the other side, the deaf community and others oppose the cochlear implants, feel that deafness should be looked at as a cultural identity, not a disability. This is important because the disabilities defines and labels an individual in society apart from the rest, when in actuality, that deaf person is still a human functioning being. For example, a newly born child can be diagnosed with a disease called spinal meningitis that can cause deafness. This was the case for Ann Lynn Parker, my sign language teacher from Independent Learners in Los Altos, California. I was born with normal hearing capabilities like you and everybody else. However, I became very sick with spinal meningitis at 18 months. I became profoundly deaf and started learning sign language from that time on. Although Anne did not get a cochlear implant, her pride throughout her life did not diminish. As a matter of fact, as an adult, she embraced her own disabilities and ultimately chose to show her support for the deaf community by becoming an educator. This not only teaches the language of sign, but unifies this demographic together with a great confidence-building community. After Anne became deaf, she joined deaf school, then became a deaf teacher for 7 years, teaching middle school language arts and English for foreign students. She states that her next step in her career was to teach American Sign Language, which seemed perfect for her abilities. Anne is very strongly against cochlear implants because of its dangers imposed to your body physically and how it affects socially. She says that it is a major surgery where surgeons cut or drill into your skull to navigate through nerves and implant foreign objects into your head. People who get cochlear implants, parents, and recipients are informed that they cannot get their head wet and even cannot go into the sun. Further evidence of this danger of the implant, according to WebMD, includes a list of scary things including taste disturbances from the nerve injury, facial paralysis, dizziness, and leakage of cerebrospinal fluid. Secondly, she thinks that implants pose a social danger because being deaf is labeled as something wrong with you. She is strong about the fact that there is nothing wrong with the deaf person, and that the community itself is very proud, and there is a vast range of ordinary people who work blue and white collar jobs and have shot up to become renowned actors, actresses, doctors, etc. This is the core of the controversy regarding cochlear implants. Anne is extremely firm on her stance of being deaf without an implant. She states that there is a twisted motive behind the motives of the surgery. So passionately said, each cochlear implant surgeon is a money-making incentive for doctors. The makers and anti-deaf lobbies make money and reward doctors who oppress information to parents about deaf schools. Anne states that it is important for deaf children to learn their culture without an implant. The deaf community includes many kids of people. Explains Doris Sorkin of the Alexander Graham Bell Foundation, speaking for the film Sound and Fury. I want to emphasize that deaf culture is by no means closed to those who do not know sign language. The arts, even music and other forms of expression, are an important part of deaf culture, as it is true for those in other world cultures. Given that Anne recognizes this aspect of deaf culture, education is even more of a reason to be a deaf educator, as many educational systems do not integrate deaf culture well enough to help the person not only grow, but to feel a part of a whole. Which is why Anne's job is so meaningful to her. One of the main reasons why historically long-standing residential schools for the deaf are dying across the nation is because the mushrooming growth of children with cochlear implants are not attending our schools. They are attending regular schools with mainstream programs or contained classrooms. Furthermore, as one of Anne's students, I noticed and experienced her fantastic teaching abilities firsthand. Her tremendously exaggerated gestural personalities and teaching methods provide itself to be genuine and heartfelt. Like she deeply wanted me to know how to sign. She wanted me to understand what she was saying. She deeply cared about bridging the gap between the deaf and the hearing community. Anne may or may not continue teaching and eventually wants to implement her entrepreneurial dream into reality. She wishes for people to be more loving towards each other in general, and it has nothing to do with her deafness. The director at the school in which she teaches discusses the genuine motivation Anne has to teach sign. Anne is motivated by genuine desires to help bridge the deaf community with her hearing community. This is the only avenue that these two communities can interact.